Welcome to Let's Talk Health and Wellness. Today, my guest is Bionca Reese. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. Hey,
Yes.
y'all.
She is known as Bee Ree, professionally makeup artist,
Mhm.
a model, and a certified Zumba instructor.
Yes.
To
All
say, and yes,
that.
and I know it's more,
Yeah.
right? Because you're also a therapist.
Yes, I'm a substance abuse and trauma therapist.
Now look at that. Look at that.
Yeah. Yes.
Wow. Well, thank you for joining me today.
Yeah.
I appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm
Yes.
excited to be
So
here.
let's dive in.
Yes.
Okay. So where you want to start? I mean, you got so much going on.
Whatever you feel like we
Yes.
we need to start it, I'm leave that up in your hand.
Okay. Yes. Well, makeup, model.
Yes.
Okay. Let's
Yes.
start there. Let's start there because I've seen your work.
Yes.
You have actually got me ready
I
for a
have.
fashion show as
Yes.
well. You did my makeup,
Mhm.
and I got so many compliments. So
Mhm.
many compliments on my look, y'all.
And that
She is
wasn't even a full face.
right. I mean, and then I mean, it wasn't even just. I mean, you was doing a lot of models. I mean,
Yeah.
and you made everybody look so pretty.
Thank you.
Yes. Oh, how long have you been
Oh,
doing makeup?
okay. So I just turned 35 in May.
Okay.
So I've been doing
Congratulations.
thank you. So I've been doing professional makeup since I was 19.
Wow.
Yeah, so how I actually started was I was the girl in high school that did everybody like eyebrows.
Mhm.
Like I was the one everybody just came to me, hobby, do my eyebrows. I'm like, okay, girl, it wasn't like a big thing. But after I finished high school, I wanted to grow my business a little bit. So
Mhm.
what I did was I actually started to model first before actually growing
Mhm.
my makeup business. A lot of people don't know that. So I
Wow.
just started, and I was a big, big, heavy, like teenager at that time. I was like 250 pounds. So
Wow.
I started actually as a plus model. A lot of people don't know that.
I
So
didn't know
yeah, a
that.
lot. I was
Wow.
250 pounds, and I started as a plus model first. And modeling came as more like a hobby then because I was just trying to network, just get
Mhm.
to know people.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, once I get up my connects, I'll start working on my makeup business. And that's what I did. So throughout
Wow.
the years when I was still in college and everything, I would get booked as a model and as a makeup artist for the show. So I would do
Wow.
like 20 or 30 models makeup and then have to go walking a 2 or 3 hour runway show. So those times were very tiring
Mhm.
because I didn't all these people makeup and
Mhm.
then had to still model. So I always used to get paid like double
Mhm.
doing that. And I
Wow.
did that on purpose
Wow.
because I mean, hey, if I could get more money, why
Mhm.
not?
Mhm.
So I did that for a few years
Mhm.
until I launched like my makeup business, get your LLC, your website, all the things.
Mhm.
So what I did not find out that I really became a good model.
Mhm.
So I just continued to do that. So as the time went on, as years went
Mhm.
on, you know, the book is came. I got booked as a makeup artist. Did I get booked as a model?
Mhm.
It's just been like that ever since. A lot of people always ask me if you had to choose, which I say, yeah, no, I cannot
'Cause you
choose.
love them both.
I love them both,
Good. Yeah.
and they both have provided me the opportunity to make really good money
Mhm.
and just network and meet
Mhm.
people for sure.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
I didn't know that you started out as a plus size
I
model.
started as a plus size. I was 250 pounds,
Oh, wow.
and let me see. I think I was 21.
Mhm.
At that time, a lot of people don't know this story. Just a few. Um, I was on 5 different medications.
Wow.
Blood pressure, high triglycerides, cholesterol, like all the
Mhm.
things.
Mhm.
And I never get my doctor's like, Bianca, you pretty. But he said, baby, when 30 come around, if
Wow.
you don't get your weight in order, it's not gonna look right for you. I was like, oh, okay.
Wow.
So that's all I needed to hear. So at that time I didn't know a lot about working out, anything like that.
Mhm.
So all I knew I loved to dance. I danced in high school, danced in college. So I was like, let me see what these Zumba classes said, let fitness
Mhm.
be about. So I started to go to the LA Fitness class doing Zumba. I did that for like a year. I think I lost 40 pounds by just doing Zumba by itself. So
Wow.
as time went on, my Zumba instructors was like, "Hey, girl, you're really a good dancer." I'm like, "Really?" She was like, "Yeah, you need to go ahead and get certified and make money." I'm like, "Yo, you really think I could do this?" She's like, "Oh yeah." 2013, when I was 23 years old, I went ahead and got certified as a Zumba instructor.
Wow.
And I've been teaching it since. And what that was my accountability to myself. Like, okay, if I'm teaching classes
Mhm.
2 or 3 or 4 times a week,
Mhm.
that means I'm exercising every day.
Right, and you're doing something that you love well, you
Mhm.
enjoy doing because
Mhm.
you love dancing.
I love
So you
dancing.
was able to put all that together.
Mhm.
And what did your doctor say when you went back?
So, okay, I think I went back like 6 months after that
Uh-huh.
appointment. I think I lost 30 pounds. I
Wow.
came off all my medications. I think I was on 2 water pills, and those water pills make you go to the bathroom like every 5 seconds. And I just really he was just like, "Wow, that was fast." And I'm the type of person, look, it takes one time for me. I
Mhm.
don't learn at the second, third, fifth, sixth, just that first time.
Right.
And that was enough for me. So I've been working now since 2013,
Wow.
like
Look,
consistently.
wow.
Mhm.
So we have makeup artist,
Yeah.
the model,
Yeah.
and the Zumba instructor
Mhm.
all in one. You were in that when you was at the where you was at the weight, when you had the weight with you and you
Yeah.
was trying to lose your weight, I should
Yeah.
say.
I see a lot of women coming to my class and they're feeling like discouraged, like, "Hey, I can't dance like you." I'm like, you don't have to.
Mhm.
Just be yourself. Zumba is just a fun cardio
Mhm.
to do. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I don't like being on the treadmill because every time you're on the treadmill, you're gonna look at the number like, dang, I've been on the treadmill for like only 2 minutes.
Mhm.
So it's just only fun cardio. And a lot of people think you have to be an advanced skill
Mhm.
type of person to take Zumba, and you don't. I have men in my class. I have men that
Wow.
comes to my classes. Now, although I think sometimes they be trying to hook, which is fine,
Mhm.
as long as they move. If y'all want to try to holler at some of my female students, that's cool.
Mhm.
But they come in,
Mhm.
they take my classes, and it's the thing I like about Zumba that it's for everybody.
Mhm.
And my classes are really diverse. You're gonna see older people, younger people, middle-aged people, men, women.
Mhm.
You just got a variety of people, different races and ethnicity. That's the biggest thing for me because that means, you know, dance can bring people together. We just
Right.
coming in here and having a good time.
Wow, that is
Mhm.
amazing.
Mhm.
So you were able to transform all because I hear a lot of times you'll hear patients say, okay, I need to get it together, or,
Mhm.
my A1C, they said I'm borderline.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that some doctors will give you the opportunity to get it right
Mhm.
yourself.
Mhm.
But if you to
Mhm.
see if you can get it right, I should
Yeah.
say. And if you don't,
Yeah.
then next step is medication.
Right. Right.
So to see that you were able to say, okay, you know what, my health is
Mhm.
important. I need to go ahead and get it
Mhm.
together
Mhm.
so that I can come off this medication. And then look, you came off of everything.
Came off everything. I have not been on none of those medications in over a decade and a half now. That was the
Wow.
last time I was on any type of assisted medication. And because of me just being consistent with me working out and, drinking my water and all the things,
Hmm.
taking my vitamins, I have not been on those medications in over 10 plus years.
Wow.
Hmm.
Okay, something new. I
Yes.
had no idea. Like I said, I knew,
Yeah.
you did the makeup, you was
Hmm.
a professional makeup
Hmm.
artist and model. And then when the Zumba, that came because I ended up seeing that. I think I was on your page one day and
Hmm.
I looked and I said, wait a minute,
Yeah.
I gotta get in her Zumba class.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's been a minute since I used to love doing step aerobics.
Hmm.
But it's been a minute. I haven't been
That's
there in a
okay.
while, but
That's okay.
I'm gonna have to make it. So like your classes, like where do you have your classes at? How can they, if someone want to join, they're interested in taking your classes, how can they find you?
So I'm actually in between gym homes right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna say the name of the gym.
Mhm.
I just actually left the gym actually in Clayton County, so I'm trying to transition out. I'm trying to get to LA Fitness
Mhm.
because LA Fitness have more like locations.
Mhm.
So that's my goal right now is to get
Okay.
at LA Fitness. So right now I'm just kind of subbing people classes right now
Okay.
throughout my community at
Mhm.
LA Fitness at the different like community
Mhm.
centers
Mhm.
right now. So my transition with my classes, I'll try to get to LA
The
Fitness.
LA
So
Fitness. Okay.
mhm.
That's okay. And so with now going back to the makeup.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so with you doing your makeup, I've seen not only do you just do like glamour or makeup for models, but I seen
Special effects.
yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I seen
So
that.
I do special effects makeup, which I that's my favorite type of makeup to do because it challenged me.
Mhm.
Like we in Atlanta, right?
Mhm.
So it's 50 million makeup artists, it's 50 million hairstylists, it's 15 million models and fashion designers.
Mhm.
And I always, my makeup mentor, Ginger, my homegirl, she's Trinidad Tobago, love that woman to death. She taught me everything that I know.
Wow.
But she used to always say, what's going to make, somebody book you?
Mhm.
Right. So I just really got into special effects makeup. And it's crazy because Atlanta, now that Atlanta is considered like the Black Hollywood, New Hollywood,
Mhm.
Atlanta does not have like a makeup program for like special effects, which is crazy. Like
Wow.
LA do, New York do. Atlanta does not have no type of special effects. Like, cause I looked into that. So when I didn't find it, I was like, oh no, this is terrible. So I taught myself. I
Wow.
taught myself. I read different special effects books. Of course, YouTube. Asked different
Mhm.
artists I
Mhm.
seen on like Instagram when they used to like, what are the materials y'all are using? And I sat there and like taught myself. Like,
Wow.
perfect example, I can make a fake cut out of paper towels, Elmer's glue, a blow dryer, fake blood, and eyeshadow. You would never know.
Oh my
Just
goodness.
simple stuff.
Ah, so you will be
hmm
like even like doing like for movies. Have you
Yes.
ever looked into that or have you done that
Oh yeah,
already?
I've done like some local things in
Mhm.
Atlanta, on sets for different movies, local movies here and stuff like that. So yeah, whatever you want to be, you want to be a fairy, you want to be Freddy Cougar, you want to be a snow bunny, you want to be whoever. I could turn you
Transform.
to whoever you
Wow.
want to be.
So that's what sets you apart,
Yes.
because it's always that thing,
Mhm.
you see that so many is, you'll hear people say, oh, so many people are doing this already, or
Yeah.
so many
Yeah.
people, or it's so saturated, but you
Yeah.
have to set yourself apart
Mhm.
and figure out, okay, well, what am I doing different? What can I do different
Right.
that somebody else is not doing?
Mhm. Mhm.
And I'm the same. I like to be different.
Yeah.
I don't want to do the same thing that
Yeah.
everybody else is doing.
Mhm.
And so you doing that. So now, so when they look, they say, okay, I can book her for,
Mhm.
because I know on your website,
I have
everything is there.
everything is there. Wedding, prom, special effects, natural beat, full beat, glam beat, like everything is there.
Wow, one stop shop.
One stop shop.
Because you got something, for the beauty side and then
Uh-huh.
also the physical. Because then
Mhm.
you have your Zumba.
Mhm.
You have
Mhm.
all that listed.
Yeah.
Wow, look at you. I am
Yeah.
so happy for you. I
Thank
mean, to
you.
see that, because I would never have known. Like I said, when I met you,
Yep.
I think it was at the Atlanta, what was it?
It was a Sharon show. It was
It
Sharon's
was,
show.
we were at the Atlanta City Hall.
Oh, yep. Mhm. For
It
Sharon's
was at
show.
Atlanta City Hall,
Mhm.
and you were doing, I mean, and you was on, and I think you actually walked
I did. I
in
walked in
that
her
show.
show.
You did
I sure
everybody's
did.
face, and
Mhm.
you actually modeled.
I did. Mhm.
And you didn't skip a beat. I mean,
Yep.
you
Yep.
got everybody else
Yep.
together, and then you got yourself
Yep.
together, and you were out there just,
Mhm.
doing your thing.
Yep. Yep.
Wow, and I remember I said, "Oh, I gotta get her
Yeah.
information."
Yep.
Because I mean, my face, and I think we actually did a video.
Mhm.
We
I
got it. Yeah,
remember.
you remember you did the
You did it.
video of
Mhm.
me and stuff, made a whole reel,
Mhm.
and I shared it,
Yeah.
and yeah,
Yeah.
so that's good. Okay, so let's talk about your other side, because
Yeah.
we talked about, okay, your professional makeup that you
Mhm.
do. We talked about your modeling,
Mhm.
and you being a certified Zumba instructor,
Mhm.
but you have something else
Yeah.
that you do as well. Let's
Yeah.
talk about it.
So my day job, I'm a substance abuse and trauma therapist, and I've been doing. I mean, I've been doing. I don't know. 26. So I've been a therapist since I was 26 years old, so almost 10 years. So all my
Wow.
careers, I mean, I've been a decade in with everything, and I think that's why it's so hard for me to pick because all these things have been a part of my life,
Mhm.
and it's just kind of a lot of these things are second natured. So, um, I graduate. Let me see. I was 26 years old when I graduated with my third college degree.
Wow, look at
A
that.
lot of people don't know that.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of people assume that I'm like way younger than what I am.
Mhm.
Cause I know everybody, when I tell them I'm 30, they're like, you look 21. I'm like, well, praise Jesus. Let's keep black, don't crack.
That's
So
right.
hopefully I can keep this, that's that working out, drinking my 2 gallons of water every day. Um, being in this field, being in the mental health field will humble you real quick.
Mhm.
Um, the stuff that I hear and all the things that I do, what I did find out, what I did not know, they are my like not just my businesses, but they're my comforts too when I go through things. So
Mm.
when I'm like stressed or depressed, I'll sit in myself for hour my makeup chair for hours doing creative makeup looks, or I might go to the gym
Mm.
for the second time of the day just to cope. So all the things that make me money also are my coping skills. But being in the mental health as a black woman is interesting.
Mhm.
I hear a lot of stories from like substance abuse,
Mhm.
mental health, incest, molestation. It's a lot that I hear every day.
Mm.
So it's no different really from like a paramedic or a doctor that see like a lot of,
Mhm.
graphic stuff. I just hear
Mm.
the graphic stuff every day.
Wow.
Um And what I found out in all my 10 years that I've been a therapist, we are a broken people. We are a broken people. And I hear on these podcasts, other podcasts, I hear what men should be doing this and women should be doing this. I'm like, no, 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 no. Self healing got to come first before we could talk about what men and women
That's right.
should
That's
be
right.
doing.
Mhm.
And I hate to say this, but it's true. The 10 years that I've been a therapist, women
Mhm.
are more in therapy
Wow.
than men. And that's like different age groups, races.
Mhm.
I've always had more female clients than male clients.
Do you think it has a lot to do with that whole thing that, just getting help? Because I talk about that a lot. I talk, it's okay. It's
Mhm.
okay to get help because,
Mhm. Mhm.
for us, seeing a therapist was not something that
Right.
we did. Even growing up, I know
Mhm.
it was always what happens in this house, stay in this
Stays in his
house.
house. Yeah.
And so you have people that still live by that. And but now, as more is coming out about it, more information, people are talking about it more. I think
Mhm.
more people are feeling more comfortable with it's okay to see a therapist. It's okay. If I'm not feeling okay and I'm not, it's okay. You know, um, I think for some, you're more, even for myself, more in tune with your emotions. When you having that day, like
Mhm.
you said, you do your makeup, you do
Yeah.
something to kind of help. I know for me, it was always staying busy.
Yeah.
Like whether, I mean, just running, like literally never sitting down. Like
Yeah.
I was always like, I just start doing a lot of stuff. And
Mhm.
then I go from here.
Mhm.
Then I'm crafting. I mean, it was just, but that's as I got older, I figured that's how I deal with things.
Mhm.
And it's not always for me the healthiest way I know, because you still it's okay to get therapy.
Yeah. Well, I think that is because of a few reasons.
Mhm.
Like you said, it was like upbringing for a
Mhm.
lot of people. Women have kind of I'm just kind of looking at it from a clinical side.
Mhm.
Women are ahead of the race. And what I mean by that is women are making strides
Mhm.
because they're seeing about their mental health more.
Mhm.
There was a study that came out. a couple of weeks ago saying women, is it like 3.2% more to buy a home than a man, a single woman, than a man in today's society.
Wow.
And what that tells me is, and this is like single women across the board, single women who has never been married,
Mhm.
single women who have been divorced, single women who with divorced and kids, so all across the spectrum.
Mhm.
Well, that means again seeing more women in therapy. We got it. We understand the narrative. For us to be like to prosper in this life, we have to take care of ourselves
Mhm.
as a whole.
Right.
Men are not doing that.
Mhm.
And I think the reason why men are still not doing that is because they still don't feel safe in
Right.
talking about their emotions and feelings,
Mhm.
because they think it's going to be weaponized against them, and they're not, men are strong and taught to be tough, and they're not
Right.
supposed to be, you know, emotional. And I tell people, emotional intelligence, emotional maturity is so important in today's society. And you hear that word all the time.
Mhm.
And I tell people the simplest form of emotional intelligence, what that is you actually understanding your emotions and feelings and
Mhm.
how it affects you.
Right.
I would rather deal with somebody who's emotional intelligent than who is actually intelligent, who is smart. And let me tell you what I mean by that.
Mhm.
Okay. You could teach yourself to be smart. You could read all the books in the world,
Mhm.
right? You could study the dictionary. You could increase your IQ score,
Mhm.
right? Anybody could do that.
Right.
Emotional intelligence, trauma, bad time, detrimental events gonna always come.
Mhm.
And if you know how to cope with your emotions and feelings every time,
Mhm.
that makes you a emotional mature person. You
Right.
notice the really smart, intelligent people, they got social anxiety. They don't
Mhm.
know how to talk to people. They
Right.
always feel like they have to drink or
Mhm.
do something for them to feel like the life of the party.
Mhm.
They always have that. So here's the thing, I always say emotions and feelings are not fact based. Let me say that again.
Mhm.
Emotions and feelings is not fact based. And what I mean by that, you cannot Google your emotions and feelings. You will not find a peer review article or
Mhm.
your emotions and feelings. Is no possible way.
Right.
Once you understand the way you process your emotions and feelings, you are golden. Because let's just take me for example, right? When I go through bad times, I don't smoke when I'm stressed. I don't drink when I'm stressed.
Mhm.
I don't run to other people, use people when I'm stressed. I might go for a jog. I might actually just cry for a minute.
Mhm.
I may go read a book. So that means I'm very emotionally intelligent, because every
Right.
time my emotions come, I deal with them effectively,
Excuse me. Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And continue to do what I need to do. A lot of people don't do that. The
Right.
first thing people do, ooh, I need a drink. Ooh, I need a joint. Ooh,
Mhm.
I need a cigarette or food, because
Right.
people do overeat or undereat,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
When they dealing with their
They
emotions and
sure do.
feelings. So emotional maturity
Excuse me.
needs to be practiced by every person in the United States of America. And
Mhm.
that's why we have the conversations about men and women will always be unequal. People are not doing the emotional work for
Right.
themselves first.
Okay, that makes sense.
Mhm.
That makes because you have to take care of yourself
Mhm.
first and be
Mhm.
able to and just learn. I mean, because
Mhm.
things are going to happen. Life is going to happen.
Yes.
You're going to be life and and with that being said, you got to be able to have everything in check and know how to deal,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And that's me. I'm learning. I'm learning. I'm
It's a
learning,
process.
it's a process to still deal, when things happen and not because like for me, it's easy for me to withdraw. It's
Mhm.
easy for me to withdraw from things, people, and sit in my
Yeah.
emotions when I'm dealing, which is, but then you have other people, like you said, some people run to other people, to talk, which is good if you have somebody
Mhm.
that you feel safe with
Mhm.
and you can talk to about what you're feeling, but it makes sense because the drugs, the
Yeah.
drinking,
Yeah.
and you do see that a lot. and you wonder, you ever see somebody out on the street and you like, and they just going through it and they're like, well, I've been through so much, and this is why I ended up here.
Here, yeah,
I mean, I remember talking to a homeless man and
yeah,
he was telling me that,
yeah,
he was like he had been through a lot. He lost everything
yeah.
and he just never recovered from that mentally. And of course, physically, but mentally, he was never able to recover. And so his mental, he's still, he just,
Hmm.
but what do you do?
Well, but see, here's the thing though. Whether if you come from a one parent household, two parent household, who actually sit our behind down and say, hey, this is the correct way to cope with your emotions and feelings?
Right,
Baby, I come from a two parent household. I didn't get that. A lot of us did not get that.
right,
So we go through life going through these traumas and detrimental events like, ooh, la, la, la. And we're not learning how to cope. A lot of people say deal. I use the term cope
mm-hmm,
because you have to always, oh, you don't have to deal with your emotions and feelings. That's fine too. But though not dealing with your emotions and feelings is always a negative thing because those things going to come right back if you
right,
don't cope with them the way you need to. And my thing is, if you can't be honest with yourself
mm-hmm,
about your own emotions and feelings, why your friendships is not going to work out. A
right,
relationship is not going to work out. Your family ships are not going to work out. Like these are the foundational things as a individual you must have
right,
before having a friendship or a relationship.
mhm,
And what we do, we like to get in trauma bond relationships and
right,
all this jazz. But
mm-hmm,
like, no, your foundation
mm,
is not built accurately.
right.
And that's the issue.
And
People
you
do
wonder
not.
why it crumbled
Yeah, it's
because you went from one relationship to
to the
another and you never dealt
mhm,
with what's really going on because the thing is
underneath.
it's not
Yeah.
always the other person. Sometimes
No.
we got to look at ourselves and say,
Mhm,
okay, well,
mhm,
I think I played a part
mhm,
in that, or you know well, what did I do? What can I do
mhm,
differently? How can I
mhm.
work on me and take care of self so that before I move on to the next person, whatever the case may be, I can, it is a better situation and not because sometimes you will see some people, they seem to attract. You ever hear, oh, I only attract this type of people, like relationships.
Mhm,
And then they wonder why they keep having the same
mhm. You are what you
repeated
attract.
because you never took care of you,
Well, we
right?
and people don't know how to do that. That's why every to learn emotional regulation, everybody needs to go to therapy. That's
Right.
something you cannot look. I'm a therapist that got a therapist. Okay,
Oh,
I've been in therapy for 5 years, and I have a
wow.
spiritual therapist too. I just been working with her almost a year. Shout out to Ellie. I love her. She has been so helpful on my own
Wow.
therapeutic journey. Um, Even with me having 3 college degrees and 2 certifications and licensings, I'm still a person.
That's right.
And I did not learn about my own emotional regulation system until I got myself in therapy.
Wow.
I cannot help other people if my stuff is not in order.
That's right.
If my mental health is not in
Mhm.
order, that's not going to work at all.
That's right.
I did not learn any I didn't even learn this stuff in college, okay? And I got 3 I'm serious, like, I
Right.
did not learn this stuff in college. I
Mhm.
learned it in therapy, I learned it for some of my, therapy mentors that I have, like, I learned it along the way, I didn't learn this in
Mm.
school. So once I got it, I'm like, "Oh, okay. These are the things that I need to be teaching people when they come to therapy, when they come to me."
Mhm.
So I give people the tools they need to heal themselves.
Mm.
And in order to do that, you people, us as a people, we have to learn about emotional regulation. Y'all, we cannot learn that on our own. We need help with that.
Mm.
Whether if it's a pastor or I prefer people go to therapy, or even some people got life coaches. That's totally a thing too. Even from a life coach, you can learn things like that too. But
Mhm.
you cannot learn emotional regulation on your own. You could
Mm.
try to understand it, but putting it in perspective and like trying to do it on your own, you're gonna need assistance.
Mm. So I need assistance. So I can learn, huh?
You gonna have
I
yeah.
need assistance to help me deal with these
Yes.
things that I thought I've dealt with. And obviously, I have not.
Yeah.
I have not, you know.
Mhm.
But, like I said, we're good. We good at helping everybody else,
Mhm.
right? But we gotta take care of ourselves.
Mhm.
And I know for me, I had to take like a mental mini break,
Mhm.
if you would say, after experiencing having death, in my
Yeah.
family, because I think it triggered other things
Other thing.
from
Mhm.
when my mother passed and my dad. So
Mhm.
it just been like a process,
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree that yeah, it makes sense. It all makes sense
Mhm.
because you could easily slide it under the rug or cover it up, but it's still there. And then you get those triggers.
And that's called suppression. Let me tell y'all something. Like, this is tea, right?
Uh-huh.
I don't understand this.
Mhm.
Every human, we could suppress any memory or any feeling we don't want to
Mhm.
feel again, hear again, or whatever the case may be. Our brain automatically know how to do that. Nobody never teaches us how to suppress. That's something that our brain automatically know how to do.
Mhm.
Why that bothers me so much, because I don't know.
Mhm.
Because I study, behavior patterns and emotions and feelings and stuff like that as my job. So that's something we automatically know how to do.
Mhm.
So if, like you said, if it's something like things you said you haven't thought about in a long time, to you experience a death in your face, like dang, that. So you know how you feel about that trauma or detrimental event, but you still have not coped, even though that was like 15, 20 years ago. It feels like it happened yesterday. And I tell people that all the time.
Mhm.
When you talking about it and
Mhm.
healing it are two different things.
Mhm.
And I tell people that all the time. Just be okay, I'm glad that you could talk
Mhm.
about it, but
Mhm.
where's the healing work after you talk about it?
Mhm.
Right? Where's the work trying to heal it? What
Mhm.
does that look like for you? So a lot of times people like, I don't want to talk about it. I'm like, yeah, you talking about it. Especially with me. Look, let me tell y'all, my clients call me the hood or street therapist. I'm like, no, y'all not. No, y'all not gonna call me that. But I appreciate them because how I show up in my makeup, my modeling, I show up like
Mhm.
that as a therapist. Lashes, makeup, glitter,
Mhm.
glitter sneakers. They be like, okay, yeah, that's what
So
a
they
therapist.
feel comfortable.
They feel,
They feel
yeah,
like they can
yeah,
talk to you. And
yeah,
that's the thing. You want to
yeah,
be able to talk and feel comfortable
yeah,
and let it out and not
yeah,
feel, because
yeah.
it's the same, I think, like even with the medical I've seen, like I have a friend, she's a doctor and that's what she does, like with her patients. Like
Mhm.
she don't just tell you, oh, speaking
Yeah,
the lingo, she'll map it out. And I mean, she's just so down to earth and it's easy for you to talk to her
yeah,
and she explains everything to you. So that's what it sounds like you bring to your clients. You make them
yeah.
just comfortable and they can
Well,
talk.
here's the thing, you have to meet people where they are.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of times when people think of a therapist, you think about an old Caucasian woman with gray hair. All my clients have told me that. I'm like,
It's
So
how
when
they
they,
see you.
yeah, that right. So when they see me, they be like, "You my therapist?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm your therapist." So especially me being black, a
Mhm.
minority, and
Mhm.
other, black and brown people, they're like,
Mhm.
oh, they feel comfortable.
Right.
And a lot of times they get kind of mad because again they think I'm like 21 or something. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm an adult.
Okay.
Um, and it's taught me a lot about meeting people where they are because it's the most important thing.
Mhm.
Starting off as a baby therapist, I was a traveling therapist. And when I first started, and I was traveling to different cities in Georgia, like Flowery Branch and Gainesville. Like I was kind of a little bit everywhere seeing my clients. And I never forget once I hated getting subpoenaed. Like being subpoenaed by the court was always
Oh,
like
wow, really?
long days for me. So I remember like going to some of these rural counties and I'm the only black person. And
Wow.
they're like, is this the therapist?
And you walk in all
And I was in
vibrant.
with my suit, with my red bottles, with my dress, with my red lipstick, and with my briefcase. I'm like, yes, I am. So that definitely taught me like a lot of strength. And they're like, I can't believe this. The therapist is black. Like, yeah, this is the one your child has been talking to. This is the one. Yeah.
And so they see you in
And
person.
so they saw me in person. They used to scare me, but as time went on, I'm like, y'all, man, I
Right.
use that as a source of strength. And I think that job really molded me as a therapist that I am today
Wow.
because I going into those rural counties and
Mhm.
being the only just black person in the city
Wow.
or in the area for like miles, that could be really intimidating.
Oh my goodness.
So,
Wow.
yeah. So that was definitely a learning experience for me.
But like you said, it made you stronger,
And
right?
then
So, and and I think, you know, when you are in that position, and it pushes you even more,
I do.
because I mean, I've been there, been like the only black person, in that clinic.
Mhm,
And and it was just like, first I was very uncomfortable,
mhm.
but as time went on, it was like, okay, yeah, yeah, we have to work harder,
Yeah.
to show, okay, this is what, yeah, we do.
Right.
We can do the job, then some.
Yeah.
We have to work harder, but it's so worth it, especially if it's something you love
Mhm.
doing. And it sounds like you're so passionate and you love it.
You know what? I do. I can't even lie. Like I do love what I do, but it's draining.
Yes.
So that's why I think God blessed me with all the outlets because He
Right.
knew that I was going to be taking on a lot with
Mm-hmm.
being a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I take care of myself uh, better than the average person. I say
That
that
was my
I'm
next question. I was
not.
going to ask you, how do you, I know you say you have a therapist,
Yes.
but how do you, besides doing your other
Yeah.
things, your outlets, because
Yeah.
that's a lot that you are
Yeah.
absorbing in from
Yes.
other people,
Yes.
right?
So, of course, okay, of course, I work out. Like I work out 5, 6 days a week, 2 hours a day. I go to my chiropractor to get my body cracked, and I also get 2 massages a month. Um, I do the foot. I think I do my foot massage once a month. Um, I do a detox cleanse. Like I do a lot of stuff. So
Okay.
the average person probably don't do as much as I do, and
Right.
that's okay. It's not saying that I'm better than everybody, but I have to make sure my mental
Mm.
and my physical is in the health because there's been a plethora of times where I'm helping people work through their trauma while I'm going through trauma.
Mhm.
And let me tell y'all, baby, that is the most difficult thing that
Mhm.
you will have to experience in your life while you're trying to help people heal themselves and
Yes.
whoo,
That, yeah.
it would
Yeah.
definitely take you out.
Mhm.
So my self-care is kind of on 10, but it's just it have to be.
And that makes sense, because that's where I'm at. Like that whole self-care, I have to, that's what I'm working
Mhm,
on, getting back, because I've
mhm,
poured, and I've, the same thing. You're going through, but you're staying strong, and you're smiling,
mhm,
and you're helping the next person.
mhm,
You know, because it's like immediately for me, you know, I do a lot of community work. I do a lot of
mhm.
things. So it's like, this person, you see, whatever it is I'm going through, it at that moment
Right.
is no longer there. Now I'm trying to help this next person. And
Mhm,
then you get, for me, I'm so sincere and genuine with, like, I just like everything. I'm just trying to do all I can. But then after you're done with that, you go back, and now it's just, and like you said, it doesn't go away. So now it's like, okay, I'm back into that whole mode. But what I've been finding for me lately, I've been doing a lot of writing. I've
yeah.
always loved writing when I was in school,
Mhm,
um, especially if it's something that I want to write about.
mhm.
But yeah, I've been like really just really putting a lot of my emotions. I think I just been writing stuff
Yeah,
down. Um, and it seemed like it's been that too. It's been
that
helping
does
me
that.
some,
Yeah.
just writing. I mean, I just did another book. So
Mhm,
this, and that's going to speak about a lot of things.
mhm.
that I experienced personally
Yeah.
when I had a death in my family. So
Yeah.
it's that, it has been helping.
Yeah.
But the therapy side, I said, okay, I'm gonna do it. I gotta get me a therapist. I gotta
Get
get
you a
me a
therapist.
therapist, is what I've
Mhm.
been saying. And definitely that is my next thing that I am gonna do is make sure I get one, have a therapist.
And when you do, because this is what I tell people,
Mhm.
when you get a therapist or when you're ready, make sure you go through your insurance.
Mhm.
Do not that because that'll be the easiest way, right?
Right.
Because typically how that's kind of works as like your medical insurance, right?
Mhm.
Like if you met your deductible, it's the same thing. Your therapist seeing a therapist will be whatever your co-insurance will be,
Right.
25, 30, 40, whatever that is.
Mhm.
Or if you haven't,
Mhm.
met your deductible, you could just always call your insurance like, hey, how much would that be?
Mhm.
Because people have this thought that, oh, this therapist, and it is some therapists that's 150, $200. That's are really good therapists, but why pay that if you don't have to?
Right.
There's
Yeah.
some really good
Yeah.
therapists that will be in network
Mm.
with your insurance,
Mhm.
and that's the best way to go, an affordable way. Cause I don't know what's the what there. I know there's the BetterHelp one, and there's another one that you could go online and just pick one,
Mhm.
and I think they're like 85, $65. But what if you just only have to pay $40?
Right. Or
You
not
know,
or nothing
or nothing.
because I was told like from my director, she had a conversation, we had a conversation shortly after I came back off of bereavement leave
Mhm,
and she said, um, you can go. We have the Pastoral Institute
mhm,
for everybody there in the hospital.
mhm.
And she said, you don't have to pay anything.
See,
She
that's what
said,
I'm
it's
saying.
okay. She said,
Yeah.
when I lost my father and I went through, she said, I started going and
Mhm.
yeah, she still goes. So,
Go, go, do
mhm,
it. Especially, I always tell people start with the EAP first
mhm,
and see like how many free sessions you get. And
okay.
then if you like the therapist that you have, see, how much or if they in network, which most likely the EAP therapist, they will
Mhm,
most likely be in network with your
mm,
insurance. So I always tell people that. And when this is also important. When picking a therapist,
mm.
please be picky. I tell people this all the
I
time.
was going to ask you,
Like
how can you determine like when you're looking, I know some people even with a doctor, they look, but like with your therapist, like how do you
you need
determine?
how you see yourself
Mhm.
is how you need to pick a therapist. Let me tell you.
Okay.
If you're a black woman, you
Mm,
probably need a black woman therapist,
okay.
right? If you a black woman that got trauma with men, you do not need a man therapist.
Wow.
Does that make any
So it
sense?
will be the same like if a man, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
They would just probably what look for a male
So it's just
therapist.
also men. I find men can go either way.
Mhm.
Sometimes men do prefer a woman because we're good with emotions and feelings and things like that. But I always, especially black men, I always
Mhm.
encourage black men to get a black therapist or a therapist color if they're not black because they know the narrative of what black men go through.
Mm.
You don't have to explain oh, the narrative of being a black man in America because they already know. So you could
Right.
skip that chapter because this brother knows,
Mhm.
and then skip to just the trauma that you feel like, you know what I'm saying, that whatever you need to start processing. So I always tell people like this is like finding the perfect pair of
Mhm.
shoes. You might not find it at that first, second, third, but maybe at that fourth store.
Mhm.
Right. So I always tell people like, yeah, it's a few of these therapists.
Mhm.
See if it's a good fit for you. If it's
Mhm.
not, make another one because this is the person you're gonna be building a therapeutic relationship with, and you're gonna be telling all your business to. So
Right.
you need to be able to look at your therapist and
Mhm.
feel comfortable and know that this person can identify with you because they black or whatever the case may be, so they can help you. A lot of times
Right.
people like, well, I don't care who helps me. I'm like, yeah, yes, you do.
Right.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
You do care. So
Yeah.
take your time, figure out what you need in a therapist.
Mhm.
Race, gender, age is
Mm.
another important thing too.
Okay.
Like if you 25, please don't get a therapist that's 60.
Mhm.
Get a therapist my age, right? Because
Right.
if you 20, we kinda close in age.
You want
I
somebody that
done
can
lived a little
relate.
bit more than you. We kinda
Right.
in the,
Right.
those things. So look at, like, everything.
I never looked at it like that.
A lot of people don't.
Wow. So and that makes sense because
Mhm.
you wanna be able to talk to somebody that can relate
Right.
or know
Mhm.
what it is to be,
Mhm.
you know. So it
Mhm.
makes sense. Now you got yeah, okay. I never looked at it like
And
that. I'm just thinking,
there's no shade to all the Caucasian or,
right.
they it's a lot of Caucasian therapists. I don't know that have been really helpful, but
Mhm,
there's also a lot of black therapists
mhm.
that can be really helpful in knowing that we're helping our own to
Right.
get better. So,
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. I
yeah,
appreciate that.
sure.
Because the viewers need to hear that
Yeah.
so that they know if it's okay to get a
Mhm.
therapist
Yes.
and what you need to look for when
Yeah.
finding a
Yeah.
therapist,
Yes.
right? So now, how do they find a therapist?
So, yeah, so the easiest way is if you have insurance,
Right?
go through your insurance or and your EAP first.
Okay.
Um, if you don't have insurance, you have Medicaid and Medicare, I always tell people to go to Grady and
Mhm.
get a Grady card, and you can use your Grady card as insurance.
Oh.
So, you could go to Grady. Well, actually, you could call them, and they'll set you up a financial aid appointment. And you'll have to go down there with, like, I think paycheck stubs and whatever and
Mhm.
see how much it is. But with a Grady card, you could use for a little bit of everything to see all
Wow.
the specialty doctors,
Mm.
primary, and for mental health services too. So if you
Wow.
don't have insurance at all, I always encourage people to go get a Grady card, and then you could get one that way. Or if you just don't have insurance, they do have what they call a sliding scale therapist.
Mhm.
And what those are people who work with you, whatever your budget is. So a lot of the sliding scale therapists, they'll have you to submit like maybe two or three of your paycheck stubs.
Mhm.
And they'll say, okay, well, for this, I'll charge you, it's like a flat rate, maybe like $55 based off
Okay.
what you make, right? So there are also sliding scale therapists too who would just work with
Mhm.
people if they got like a specific budget. So it's one way to like it's one way to skin a cat.
Okay.
So and I just tell people that because a lot of times, especially with how the state of the world is now,
Mhm.
we're gonna need like many different options as well. And another free option people could look into if money is really tight is support groups.
Mhm.
Support groups are free and
Okay.
they happen in mostly all communities.
Mhm.
And how you find support groups, just Google them. You got
Okay.
a lot of different support groups in Atlanta and Fulton and Clay. They're everywhere.
Mhm.
And I always tell people be really specific about what type of support group. Like
Mhm.
trauma support group for trauma with women or
Mhm.
support group for men who are paramedics or vets.
Mhm.
Those are you can find a lot of support groups that are free in person and
And
online too.
online too.
So I always tell people try the support group first if like money is super duper tight, but you just
Mhm.
kind of want to be a part of the environment. Even on Zoom, you don't have
Mhm.
to turn
Mhm.
your camera on. You could just listen
Right.
if you just want to listen, and you could just mute your microphone.
And we actually got so much better with that during COVID,
Right,
right?
right.
Yeah, so
That's why there's so many now.
mhm.
A lot of those groups kind of kept that up due to COVID because all
Mhm.
like the AA, NA, and other support groups, they did that for like 2.5 years before they start going back in person.
Mhm.
So support groups is always a good way,
Okay, okay.
free type of resource.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Bianca Reese, for sharing that.
Yeah.
Because people they need to know,
Yes.
right? They
Yeah.
need to know. So again, thank you, Bianca
Mhm.
Reese,
Yeah.
for joining me today.
Of course.
She is the beautiful model, makeup artist,
Yeah.
Zumba instructor,
Yes.
and mental health therapist. Look at this, all in one.
All in
All
one.
on beauty and brains. Okay, beauty and brains. That's the new thing.
Yes.
Beauty and brains.
Beauty
We
and
got it
brains.
all, and that's how we need to
Yeah,
present it, right?
for sure.
Because I mean, you work so hard,
Yeah.
you know, inner and outer,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So thank you again for joining me today. I would like for you to share your social media handles
Y
for everyone. So if
y
they want to reach you, they want
yeah.
to book you, want to learn
Yeah.
a little bit more about you, how
Yes.
can they reach you?
So my website, you guys, is www.beautyfliesmakeup.com.
Mhm.
My YouTube, my Instagram is beautyfliesmakeup.com. I also have like a big personal page, which is called Zumba Makeup Artist. I put all like my makeup, my Zumba stuff,
Mhm.
my positive daily quotes,
Good.
inspirational quotes on there. So I'm on every platform.
Good. So it's more than one way for them if they want
Yes.
to stay connected or you want to see what Miss Reese is up to.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
For
Well,
sure.
thank you again for sharing that. I hope each and one of my viewers today learned something. I
Yes.
certainly know I've
Awesome.
learned something
Yes.
today.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing that
Of
information with
course.
us today. Again, thank you for joining us today at Let's Talk Health and Wellness. Until next time, remember, take care of your mental and your physical.
Bye, guys. Thank y'all.
Thank you.